marriage, because I think what Susan just said about reconnecting with your husband on an emotional level is the real answer. Find a way to reconnect with him, because that was what you had in the beginning that so often sort of goes to the background because of the emotional engagement that we have with our children. And so when the empty nest arrives, we need to find ways to reconnect emotionally with our husband. So it could be a weekend to remember, as we were talking about earlier. It could be reading a book together. It could be joining a couple's Bible study. It could be even just taking a vacation together when your last one leaves home, so that you begin to have common experiences that you are sharing together as a couple. And those things provide cement. And you need to find those.
Going on trips with him, that kind of thing? I'm sorry, I was trying to help you out here.
He's all the help I can get. You know, what Barbara's talking about, though, I think Hollywood has done such a great job of creating this romantic myth of what marital love ought to look like all of our marriage days. We don't have great pictures of what it looks like in this season for a couple to grow old together. And yet, when we stood before a pastor and we promised, what did we promise? To love, honor, cherish, to have and to hold. You know, you had all the promises of through sickness, health, and poverty and wealth, and all those matters were promised back then. And now you've had a chance to experience it. And it may do well for a couple to simply go back and reaffirm their commitment and the promise they made to one another, and then do something like Barbara's talking about, some way to invest in the marriage relationship. I'll never forget seeing a movie that was made by some amateurs, and it was a 30-minute movie. It was a short story, but it was a movie about a couple who were right here. I mean, they were alone, and the children had left, and it revealed a lack of relationship. And I felt like the story wasn't very realistic because it found them finding hope alone in a log cabin.
Right.
I'm not sure that's going to happen for most couples. I think what they need to do is to find hope with other couples around the scriptures and around God's Word, and the experience of a weekend to remember and repledge their promise to each other, but then get busy building a marriage and a family according to God's blueprint.
As you were talking, I was thinking about two things. I was thinking, first of all, that connection with a couple that's a few years down the road from you who can say, you know, we got this, we went through this, it's okay. That can be so helpful, so encouraging. But the other thing I thought is there needs to be a renaissance of empty nest vow renewal services. You know, what a perfect time for couples to step forward and say, can we rent the church on Friday night or on Saturday when there's not a wedding going on? And can we just have some friends over and renew our vows?
Or in your neighborhood.
Yeah, you can do it in your living room for that matter. But let's start the new chapter of our life with a fresh ceremony that says all the stuff we said we were going to do, we're still going to do it. And now we know better because we know what it's going to be. But you know what? We still do. And we intend to do till death do us part. And what a great way to inaugurate this season of life.
And then maybe to take that fresh renewal and to head out on a long vacation together.
Yeah, in fact, as I remember, you and Johnny did this, headed off on a long vacation, and there was a convertible involved. Is that right?
This is true. We decided right before our last child got married that we were going to be a little sad. We anticipated that we were going to be a little sad as the last one left. And so we borrowed a beach house from friends, and 2 days after the wedding, we left the house a mess, the thank you note unwritten, and we went to the beach. And Johnny surprised me by renting a red convertible with the top down. He thought he was 28 again. And we drove off, and while we were away, we went to a little chapel, and we did go through the wedding ceremony again together. And you know, it was interesting, in all honesty, as we left to go on this trip, I was a little bit nervous because I thought, this is the beginning of something very strange.